Hey YouTubers! Well, if you're looking at getting a portable power station, you are going to want to watch this video because this here is the new Marxon G1500 and this thing is amazing. Now I'm going to take you through, tell you all about this thing, but I'm also going to take it a step further and I'm going to show you what it can do. Got some more footage at the end, towards the end of this video, and I'm going to show you that this thing can power a 12,000 BTU unit air conditioner. And it can also power a 12-inch sliding compound miter saw. This thing is a beast. So if you're looking for something that is capable of running, your refrigerator, let's say in a power outage or whatever, and running all like your computers and cell phones and charging pretty much anything that you have in your house, with the exception of like your HVAC unit and like your dryer, then this is a good size unit. And it has a lot of bells and whistles. So we're going to start at the very top and work our way down. So as you can see, this unit looks really nice. And here at the top, you've got two big heavy carrying handles. And they're nice and sturdy. They don't feel flimsy at all. And if you're wondering about the design of this thing, it looks very similar to the EcoFlow units. I think it looks really sharp. I gotta say, the fit and finish of this thing is really nice, good quality. You can tell that it's very well put together. Has a nice color display here, and it's got everything. It tells you everything that you would possibly need. Right over here to the left, it tells you what percentage of battery life is left, and it's at 81%. There in the middle, it tells you how much time you have left on that battery for whatever you're running. Right now, there's nothing plugged into it, so it says it can go 100 hours or 99 hours. And then over to the top there, it tells you your input wattage. And then down below is your output wattage. So your output wattage is whatever you're plugging into this, whatever wattage you're using, and your input wattage is coming in to charge the unit. Then down here below, you've got fast charging USB port right here, and then another fast charge USB port right there. Then here in the middle, you have two standard USB ports. And then also down below, you have the Type C charging ports. There's one there, there's one there. And then this unit is really neat. In fact, it's set up on different circuits. So all these USB and Type C ports are on one circuit. So if you want to use this and turn the AC part off, you can. You just turn the button off and it turns the AC side off. And if you want to hit the button above right there, then you can turn the USB ports and all that on. So the reason that's important is because, if you're not needing the AC units, don't have them running, because it can run down your power a little bit faster, because that power inverter that's on the inside is running and the fan is going. And so it's using just a little bit of power to run those AC ports. So if you're not using them, don't turn them on. One thing that you'll notice whenever you pick this unit up is it weighs almost 41 pounds. So, like I said, it does have a pretty hefty battery in here, and I'll go ahead and read it out of the manual for you. It says that it's a LiFePO4 cell. It has 3,000 cycles, and it's a 48 volt, 30 amp hour, 1,440 watt hours. Like I said, this thing weighs 40.7 pounds. As far as the AC power, this thing puts out 1,800 watts of AC power on just normal, and a surge wattage of 3,600 watts. Now, I will say that it is a little funny that they named this one the G1500, so that is kind of a little weird for me. I wish they would have named it like the G1800, considering this is an 1,800 watt unit. I wish they would have changed that around. It's just a little confusing. Now I want to go back up here and tell you about all the ports here on the top. I told you that there was two USB ports. There are 12 watt ports, just standard USB. And then there's the fast charging USB ports here on the side, and they are 60 watts. And then like I said, these have the two USB-C ports there on the very bottom, and those put out 100 watts. So what makes this unit so special is down here below, right here on the very bottom. You can see there's a little flap that just pulls out, and it's like a little rubber flap, and you can see right in there, there's a red connector and a black connector, and then there's like a little screw in connector. And what this is, it's for a parallel connection. So if you wanted to get two of these devices and hook them together, you can double your capacity. So with running both of these together, what you would do is you'd plug in that parallel connector to the red, the black to the black, and then that screw-in connector there is for your ground. And it's just one connector that's all in one that just hooks up right in there. And like I said, you can connect both of these units together. And when you do that, it says right here that when you connect them together, that would give you 2,880 watt hours of capacity, and then 3,600 watts of AC power. I mean, I don't know of anything that would take that much wattage, that I would use on a daily basis. I mean, I could run the TV and charge my cell phone and get on the computer and do all sorts of stuff with that kind of power and not have to worry about running out of capacity. And so that's pretty amazing to be able to do that. And whenever you turn the unit to the side, you can see it's got these little lines, grooves cut in there, and there's some vents right here on the side, and it's on both sides, and that just helps provide some of the cooling. Now it does have some cooling fans here on the very back. You can see that there's dual cooling fans. There's one there and one on that side, and then there's another set of vents across the top. So behind this little flap here is a cigarette lighter port. Provides you with roughly about 120 watts of power. And right here you can see that it has an LED light. Whenever you mash it, it comes on. And it's pretty bright. It's not crazy. You hit it again, it turns into like an SOS emergency type light. Hit it again and it turns off. And then here at the bottom, there's this little flap that lifts up and down. Now, I will say this is one part of this unit that I don't really care for, but because I just think that over time it'll probably get broke off. So, if I was to redesign this unit, I would definitely do away with this and come up with something a little bit more robust and maybe put it a little bit higher, because if this thing is sitting on the ground, it's kind of hard to look way down and see what you're doing and when you're plugging stuff in. But I will say what's hiding up underneath this flap is pretty cool. If you look right in there, I don't know how well you can see that, but that is a reset button. It says overload protection 15 amp max. So basically it's just a reset button. If you needed to reset the unit, let's say you overloaded it, mash the button and it resets itself. Here in the middle, that is a AC charge port. And this is one thing that I really like about this unit, because it does away with the old charging brick. I hate these things. They're, you always forget them, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to carry these things around, and they usually don't charge with much power. Like this one here is from another power station that I reviewed. This one only puts out like 180 watts of power, so it's not very powerful. With this unit, you do away with this and you just use the standard cable, and there's no more power brick. You plug this into the wall, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it into a drop cord here. Once you plug it in, this end here goes into the center, and I heard the unit beep and it powered it on. So on this side right here, it says solar car input, and basically what that is just an Anderson connection. And because they supply you with this cable that has the Anderson connection on one side, and then on the other side it plugs into a cigarette lighter in your car, so you could charge it up to you could probably get up to like 120 watts. Now you can also use this Anderson type connector to use this to connect to solar panels. So if you buy the solar panel, it will come with the Anderson to MC4 connector to hook the solar panel up. But if you don't buy the solar panel with this unit, then you'll have to buy your own Anderson to MC4 connector. Now, it's not a big deal. This is like a $13 cable on Amazon. This one actually come from Bouge RV. And basically what this does is plugs in to that Anderson connector there, just like that. And then you plug this into your solar panel. So like I said, if you buy the Marxon solar panel, it comes with this. You don't have to buy an extra one, but if you need one, you can find these readily available on Amazon, 12, 13 bucks. So if you're interested in charging this through solar, this thing will accept 600 watts of input power. It's amazing. That's quite a bit of input power for a portable power station. And so with that much power, it charges this unit really fast. I will show you that towards the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. But for now, I'm going to show you what this AC power can do. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. You can hear the unit beep, and you can see that the wattage is ramping up. And right now it's at 199 watts of charging. And give it a few minutes, and once it ramps up, can charge super fast. It's rated at like right at 1,000 watts. So some of the other power stations that I've been reviewing in the past have only been able to charge up to like 200 watts. But this thing here is able to get up to 1,000 watts of AC charging. All right, so just wanted to show you, I've got it plugged into the AC charger, and when it first turned on, it was at 200 and 300 watts, and then right now it's at 700 watts. And when it kicked up to 700 watts, I noticed that the internal fans kicked on to go ahead and keep everything nice and cool on the inside, because that is quite a bit of wattage. I mean, 1,000 watts of AC charging power, that's quite a bit. And you know, eventually this number here will go up from $6.99. It'll eventually make its way up to 1,000 watts. So I'm not going to sit around and wait on it and all that, and you just take my word for it. I have seen it when it's charging up to 1,000 watts, and it does it very quickly. So one really nice feature that this thing has is what they call a UPS, uninterrupted power supply. And the way that that works is, let's say you go ahead and you have this unit plugged into AC power like it's charging. You just leave it plugged in. And then let's say you have a desktop computer that you want to have it plugged in here in the front. So if there is a blackout and you lose power, your computer would stay powered up. So it's not going to turn off. It's still going to remain powered on, just like it's like you have power. Now the rest of your house might be dark, but your computer will still stay running, and whatever device you have plugged into these AC ports will still remain on. UPS feature is an awesome feature to have for power outages. Let's say you've got some lights plugged into this, your power goes out, those lights will still remain on. It's basically like a backup generator type thing. And so when your power does eventually come back on, it will turn it off of running off the power station, and then it'll just run on normal power, just like it's plugged into a wall outlet. All right, so I'm going to read off the box a few little scenarios for you, just to give you an idea of how long your device will run on using certain products. And it says right here on the box, it says if you're running a 150 watt refrigerator, it'll run for 9.6 plus hours. If you're running a circular saw, 1400 watts, it'll run for 1 hour. If you're running a CPAP machine, it says that it'll run a 40 watt CPAP machine for 36 plus hours. And it says right here, a 10 watt light, that it'll run it for 6 plus days. Well, let me show you something. I picked these up on Amazon. I bought these with my own money from a company called VT Power. There's a bunch of these companies out there that sells all these DC powered lights. I just wanted to show you this so it might save you some capacity on your battery. It won't use nearly as much watts. Let's say you've got a light that plugs into an AC port. It's going to use more wattage to run that light off that AC port, because it's having to power up that internal inverter. So again, it said on here on the box that I'm looking at, it said that it should be able to run a 10 watt light for 6 plus days. And that's with using AC power. Well, I'm using 5 watts. You can see right there, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it says 5 watts. It's going in and out. It says 0, and then it goes to 5 watts. and you can see that this thing's using 5 watts of power, and that is right. And you know, if it's using 5 watts, this thing should last like over 12 days just running that one light. So that's a long time to be able to run that light bulb. And then I also have another one. We'll plug in several of these. I got a 4-pack, and you can see that it's jumped up to 10 watts. All right, so with all 4 of these DC light bulbs being powered, it's only using 20 watts of power. And so these are really handy to have around the house in an emergency. But here this next week, we're going to go camping. And so we're going to be able to hook these to our tent, inside our tent, outside of our tent, and just to give us some light around the outside, just in case of bears or whatever. So I know what you're saying. You're going to say, well, you've already used up all 4 of those USB ports, and now I don't have a place to plug in my cell phone, whatever you're wanting to plug into those USB ports. And so whenever I bought these lights, it come with 2 splitters. So you got one USB into 2 USBs. And so I can, with 2 USB ports, I can plug up all 4 lights, and that way you'll have 2 to charge up your devices. And if you want to buy these splitters, you can buy these on Amazon. They're not very expensive. And like I said, I got all 4 of the bulbs and the 2 splitters, I think, for around $20-something. So check them out. And also, don't forget, you have these USB-C ports. And so I've got my cell phone charging through the USB-C port. And then I have a splitter on one of the USB ports. And I'm powering up 4 of these light bulbs. And then let's say you wanted to put a little ventilation, let's say in your tent, and you don't want to put a big fan in there, you can use these. These are from AC Infinity. I bought these with my own money off of Amazon, but they're little cooling fans. And I figured, you know, these would be pretty cool to stick in a tent. They're really small. They're not going to get in your way, and they use very little power. Hope that helped you out. Taught you how to keep the power consumption low on the battery on this and make it last longer. You know, if you want to use AC, you can. But, you know, I try to use DC just to make it last as long as possible. So it says that you can power a 1,000-watt microwave for 1.4 plus hours. A coffee machine, a 1,000-watt coffee machine for 1.4 plus hours. An electric frying pan, 1,200 watts, 1.2 plus hours. Blender, 400-watt blender for 3.6 hours. A 500-watt washing machine for 2.8 hours. A hair dryer, that's 1,600 watts for 0.9 plus hours. So, you know, this thing will power pretty much anything in your house. So I'm outside with the Marxon G1500, and I just wanted to show you that I've got it set up out here, and then I'm fixing to plug it into the solar panel. But I wanted to show you the solar panel, and it's a 200-watt panel, and it's really neat. It folds up, and it has a little pouch here on the back to secure all your cords and all that. But then you've got these little legs that pop down, and they're kind of like springy, and they want to close back on their own. So I thought that was pretty neat. And this is a big panel. You can see it's 200 watts, and it's longer than the bed of the truck here. We've got it set out diagonally, and I just wanted to show you what kind of power this thing puts out. Like I said, I've been playing around with this panel, and this thing puts out really, really good power. So I'm going to plug it all in. You can see right here, whenever you buy the solar panel, it comes with the connectors. I know a lot of YouTubers have said that, you know, the power station here itself doesn't have the MC4 to the Anderson style connector, but if you get the solar panel, it has it with it. So, you know, you don't have to buy it separately. So anyways, it's already set up to where if you want to run 2 of these 200-watt solar panels, you can. And you've got a splitter here. Go ahead and plug it in, and keep in mind it's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I wanted to show you right here on the very back, you just lift this little flap up, and this is the one thing that I did find a little awkward about this, is it's got this little flap, and it's not the strongest, but you know, it does work, but it is kind of awkward to get to. I'll probably eventually break that off, honestly. But you want to plug it in right here. You can see Anderson connector plugs in right there, And then if you'll come over here to the front, you can see it's at 97% charge, and that it's bringing in the input watts is right there on the top right. You can see it's at 135, 145, 150, 152, 154. So right around 154, it's bringing in that much solar power and charging this thing. And it says that with 154 watts of input power, it will take 16 minutes to charge it up to 100%. So this thing does charge really quick, even with the solar power. And you got to keep in mind, that's only with a 200 watt panel. So that's really fast. And so I just wanted to show you here in the manual, it says right here that this thing will accept 600 watts max solar input. And you know, if you've got some more solar panels, if they're in those perimeters there, then you can hook it to this. You don't have to use their solar panels, but I just wanted to show you this. It works really well. All right, guys, so I wanted to give you some real world testing with this power station. And I gotta say, this thing is a beast. It handles a lot of power. I've got a 12-inch sliding compound miter saw here, and you can see this is the cable coming out of it, and I have it plugged in to the power station. And then also I have this IceCo cooler. You can see it's an IceCo brand cooler right there on top. And right now I just plugged it in within the last 3 or 4 minutes. And so the compressor's on because it's hot outside. You can see it sitting in the sun. And anyways, you can see right here that it says that it's drawing about 70 watts. And it's been fluctuating 67 to 70 watts. And you can see it moving right there. And it says right there in the middle that it can run this thing for like 17 hours, just the cooler. So I'm gonna put this thing through some paces, and I'm gonna use the sliding compound miter saw same time I've got the cooler plugged in. And you know, I'm not gonna pick an easy piece of wood. This one right here has got a knot in it. This thing it's pretty powerful. It's the most powerful power station I've tested so far. And even with it running the saw and the cooler, it didn't phase it. It didn't bog down at all. So I'm very impressed with this thing. So this is a heater that I run sometimes in the house when it gets cold. It's 1500 watts. I've got it plugged in. You can see that it's lit up. You might not be able to see it, but there's the power screen. And it's probably flashing for you guys at home because that's the way it just so happens to look. But I'm going to go ahead and kick it up. There's power level 1. You can check the display down here. You can see that it's using 60 watts total for the cooler and the heater. Now I'm going to kick it up to power level number 2. You can see that it's ramping up. 1466, 1465. And this thing's really using some watts because it's powering the cooler and the heater. And you know, that's quite a bit of a load on this thing, but it's still managing the power. Now, whenever you use something real heavy wattage like this heater that's putting out 1500 watts, you know, the amount of runtime is not going to be very long. I mean, you can look right here on the front of the power station, and it tells you that running the cooler and the heater at the same time, you're going to get about 51 minutes of runtime. All right, so I've got a test for you guys. You're not going to believe it, but this thing is able to run a 12,000 BTU air conditioner. Now, I will say this is one of the most efficient window unit air conditioners that you can buy. That's a Medea U-shaped inverter type air conditioner, so it uses low watts, but it's still 12,000 BTUs, and this thing gets super cold. I'm going to hit the on button. You can see that it's at 0 watts. It'll pop up here in a minute, tell me how many watts it's using. 193, 257, 326, 350. Now it's dropped back down to like 155, 215, 230, 247, 270, 312. Can you see that right there, guys? 300. Yeah, it's hard to believe that a 12,000 BTU air conditioner is using 388 watts. And it'll go up to right around 500 watts. I believe 400 or 500 watts. It takes a few minutes for it to ramp up. But I've got it set to econo. Let me take it off econo. But you can see right there it's at 400 watts, 413, 59 degrees on the air temperature. And you can see right there that it says that it would run it for 2 hours. So that's pretty impressive to be able to run a 12,000 BTU unit air conditioner for 2 hours. So anyways, let's just to prove it to you, because I'm sure there's going to be some naysayers at home saying you're not running that big of an air conditioner, only using 400 watts like that. And just to prove that I am, and to show you that this is pretty accurate, I've got a kilowatt meter here. I'll unplug it, plug this in, plug it back in there. We turn it back on. There it goes. Let's see, make sure I've got it set to watts here. Alright, you can see the compressor kicked on, and it's at 175, 206, 224. That number keeps going up. And you can see the watt meter over here is going crazy. The watt meter's at 283. This is at 320 something. Now it's 391. The watt meter's at 422. Let's see what it stables off at. The watt meter says 425 to 428. This says 435. But it's fluctuating. It's going up and down. But you can see they're in the ballpark. And, you know. So I just wanted to make mention that the solar input on the power station here is 600 watts. And you're only using 400 and, you know, low 400s in wattage from running this air conditioner. So if you had 600 watts of solar power, you know, it's not going to be 100% efficient. So you might only get maybe 500 watts, or, you know, on a cloudier day you might only get 400 watts or less. But, you know, on a normal day where the sun's out, let's say you get 400 watts or 450 watts, you're basically just powering your air conditioner off the solar power. And, you know, whenever it ramps up during the day and you're getting a little more power out of it than 430 watts, then it'll start charging the power station there. Most of the power that's going in this AC is, you know, coming from your solar panels, and you're not touching much of the power out of this. So you're going to get a lot longer runtime with just running off the battery on this. It says we're at 86%, and that this would run right now currently at 445 watts. It would run for 2 hours roughly. So if you had solar panels hooked to it, it's going to only increase the length of that, and you could run a pretty good amount of time. So what do I think of the Marxon G1500 power station? Well, I think EcoFlow better watch their butt, because this is a new contender on the block. There's just a few things that I would change with this. I would like to see them do away with this flap. I think it's a little flimsy. I think over time it'll break off. If it does, it ain't going to hurt the unit. It'll just be able to provide you with better access to those connectors back there. I do like the AC charging port and not having the brick, the power brick. That's nice not to have to haul that around, but you have this AC charging cord, and what do you do with it? You know, if you're taking this thing camping, you don't want to grab a hold of this thing and then have to grab a hold of this thing in another hand, and then you know you're going to carry your cigarette lighter charging cable with you, and then if you're going to carry a solar panel with you, you're going to have some more cables. And you know, I wish they would put some sort of onboard storage, maybe here on top, make a little area to, like a little storage area to house all your cables and cords and all that. That's just a suggestion. Other than that, I can't really think of anything that I would want changed on this unit. I think that it's a really nice unit. Now, some people might say, well, I wish they would put like wireless charging pad here on the top where you could put a couple cell phones on top and do the wireless charging. You know, I don't really miss it because you've got all the USB ports, the fast USB ports, and the USB-C fast charging ports there on the front. So I really don't miss that. But if that's important to you, then that might be something that, you know, I'd say I wish they would maybe incorporate on top, maybe do half wireless charging and then a cubby area to put all your cords and cables and that kind of stuff on. But, you know, I just think this is an amazing unit. Been very pleased with it. I've had it for about a little over a week, and I've really put this thing through its paces. Can't wait to use it more. It would be an awesome tool to have around the house, and, you know, just an emergency or take camping, whatever. So in closing, I appreciate you watching my video. If this video was informative to you, make sure you give me a like, and you know, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe. But you know, to all my viewers, if you're looking for a power station, I would definitely check this brand out. It's a good quality unit, and I'd definitely give it 2 thumbs up. So until next time, guys, thanks a lot for watching. See ya.